Hey, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. I don't know, whatever. Gonna be working late tonight, so I figured I'd record this quick on one of my mini trips back and forth between the two plants that I work at. Thank you for the feedback, for the comments that everyone gave. I really appreciate it. I got my 5 views, so very good, very happy, very wonderful. I got a nice comment from a friend of mine saying, hey, what do you think about maybe changing the angle, making it work a little better, and trying a slightly different mount for the car. So hopefully this will give you a little bit better view than the kind of straight up and down thing that you got before. So we'll see. Just from here, it looks a little better than what I'd had before. So that is nice. Thank you once again for the comments, the suggestions. I got some interesting ones. I got some good ones. We'll see. I think one of the best ones was one of the first comments I got, and that was the life, kind of talking about the life of the commuter. I spend a lot of time in traffic every day. In fact, I titled this YouTube channel as Drive Time, or Matt's Drive Time, or something along those lines. So that being the case, I think I do want to talk a little bit about what it's like to commute, what it means to be on these roads. How do you survive? How do you get through it? How do you deal with what you're doing? And I think one of the things that I want to talk about today is the fact that the first part about surviving the commute, surviving the drive, is to make it not about the drive. That is the first tip, trick, hint, whatever I have for you is if you're focused on the drive and the traffic and the nastiness that is the traffic, your entire commute, it's going to drive you crazy, completely, totally insane. And so I don't think that the best thing to do is to think about the fact that you're going to get on the road and you're going to drive, and in my case, 48 miles one way to work, and turn around at the end of the day and drive 48 miles one way home. Yeah. So, number one, don't make it about the drive. Don't think about the drive. Don't think about where it is you've got to go or what you've got to do to get there. The only place that comes in is what time you need to leave to get to where you want to be. So think about what you're going to do to take up that time, and number one, take your mind off of the drive a little bit. You don't want to take your mind off of the traffic so much. You want to pay attention to where you are and what's going on, and I want you to be safe. Don't get in an accident. But take your mind off of the fact that, hey, I'm going to be in the car for a while, and start looking at some of the other things that you want to do. So tip number one, as I repeat myself, is figure out what you're going to focus on for the drive. In my case, one of the things I focused on lately, obviously, is these videos, and doing them and taking them and making sure that I get some good footage, some good stuff to talk about, try to see where all that goes. So thinking about what I'm going to say, I spend a lot of time, I don't record the moment I get in the car. I usually don't start recording until I'm on down the road a little ways, and I've had a few minutes to kind of think through a few things, try to come up with something to say. For those of you who watched the video that I posted this morning, I did ramble quite a bit and went all over the place, which is pretty normal for me. I'm going to be all over the place, so we'll see where that goes from there. But I spent a little time trying to think of what I'm going to talk about, and so I don't just jump in the car, turn on the phone, and go. That's one thing that takes up probably, between the recording of the video and driving home and thinking about what I'm going to talk about, that's a good 20-30 minutes of my drive to get through that little bit. And then I also think about I I have a long, steady list of podcasts that I listen to on a very regular basis. I mean, again, I've got an hour and a half both ways, 3 hours a day to kill. So, you want to listen to the radio the whole time? Do you necessarily like what's on the radio? I liked what was on the radio when I was living in Dallas. I'm not as big a fan of what's on in Houston. I don't like most of the music stations. I don't like most of the talk stations. I really don't like the ESPN sports station here. The one in Dallas, I think, was much better. The local talent at the one in Dallas was significantly better than what they have for local talent here in Houston, which is weird. You'd think Houston would be a bigger market, and it just doesn't seem like it is. So I don't really listen to the radio. I listen to podcasts. I listen to a bunch of them. And probably starting Friday, I will start talking a little bit about some of the podcasts I listen to and about how they all relate to the things that I enjoy and go from there. So, yeah, that's it. I got nothing else. We'll see you later.